Do you have a letter addressed to Hector Blake?
Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2022 Netflix thriller I Came By, a film that is co-written and directed by Babak Anvari, and it stars Hugh Bonneville, Kelly MacDonald and George McKay. Now the film focuses on a young graffiti artist, Toby, played by George McKay, who essentially thinks he's some kind of social justice warrior sort of thing. He goes around and targets rich people. He breaks into their houses and puts graffiti and basically puts the slogan "I came by" in their homes. He's starting to get news headlines, this kind of stuff. And him and his partner target Hugh Bonneville's character, who essentially is a guy called Hector Blake, who used to be a High Court judge. He is something of a champion of people coming into the UK, trying to seek help and all this kind of stuff. He's got a nickname of the Saint, so he's quite a well-known person. He's called, and he's a Sir. He's Sir Hector Blake. And while they target his house and he goes in to check, he discovers something really, really sinister. Nobody will believe him. He tries to get the police to check out his house. And it all really escalates and gets very, very dark and dangerous from that point on, putting himself and his family in risk. Right, what are my thoughts on I Came By? Well, I do think this film is actually certainly very, very watchable for the most part, and I did enjoy my time with it. I think there were some great performances, and it's quite gritty. And there's a few thrilling moments in it here and there. But one thing I couldn't get out of my mind while I was watching this film is how similar it was to a film that came out a couple of years ago. I'm not sure when, maybe 2019, something like that. It was a film called Bad Samaritan with David Tennant, who basically, a very similar storyline. This guy breaks into his house to rob it, basically. And he discovers that this David Tennant character is like keeping people there and torturing them and killing them. He does a very similar thing, reports it to the police. Nothing can be proven. So he basically has to try and go up against this guy to prove what he's saying. Now, this film is very, very similar up to a point. And what I mean by that is it kind of takes a slightly different take on it at one point in this film. Now, I'm trying to be careful what I say because I don't want to give away spoilers, really. But whereas Bad Samaritan just kind of dealt with one person's interaction with the bad guy, the David Tennant character in that film. In this film, it focuses on three people, if you like. It focuses on Toby, his mother, played by Kelly MacDonald, and then his partner, who was reluctant to get involved because his girlfriend was pregnant and stuff like that. So he took a step back from the graffiti and stuff they were doing. And each of them kind of go after this Hugh Bonneville character in their own way. And that also, while that in some ways was an interesting take on how to do it, it also, I think, harmed the film. And what I mean by that is, as well, I think you do spend a lot of this film being introduced to this Toby character, building a relationship with him. And at one point, I actually did comment that I didn't actually like his character. He was selfish, he was rude, he was, a typical teenager type thing. Horrible to his mom, all this kind of stuff. And he was actually a difficult character, certainly for me anyway, to relate to. Even though his relationship with his mom, played by Kelly MacDonald, felt grounded and real, and it felt like a real relationship. They were bickering all the time and stuff. So you start getting invested in this character, and then you're not allowed to continue that relationship for whatever reason. And then Kelly MacDonald takes over. So you start getting invested in her story in this film, getting on board with her, and you really are on board with her. And I thought, I think this is quite a clever thing that they're doing here. And then it gets to a point in that film where that's cut off and you're not allowed to continue that relationship. And you're just like, really? I've invested my time in two characters in this film, and you've kind of kicked me in the balls almost. And then we've got this third character to then kind of get behind. And I think for me at that point, the film had really kind of taken in the wind out of my sails. and I'd kind of given up investing in it to a large degree, which I thought was a real shame, because I thought this film had real potential. I thought Hugh Bonneville as this Hector character, this Sir Hector Blake, would give a great performance, a very menacing performance, a very subtle performance of this guy who appears to be, on the surface, in society, a saintly person, a good person, doing lots of good things, trying his best, getting recognition for it, all that kind of stuff. And then behind closed doors, what you actually get is a very dark, dangerous, and nasty character, who's doing very evil things. And I think he balances that line brilliantly, Hugh Bonneville. I've never seen him I don't recall seeing him in a villainous role before. And if you're not sure who Hugh Bonneville is, he's well known in the UK. He's done Paddington and obviously and loads of other stuff. So he's well known, but I'm not sure I've seen him do a villainous role before. But I thought he pulled it off masterfully, really good. And he was like the one constant in this film. I think if it wasn't for Hugh Bonneville, I think my enjoyment of this film would have declined even more. So if you've seen Bad Samaritan and you know the film that I'm talking about and you quite enjoyed the concept of that, this is like the UK's version of that film, I suppose, with a slightly different take on it, a slightly different twist on it, but it is certainly ultimately watchable. I did enjoy my time with it, but like I said, I did feel as though the film kind of betrayed my investment in some characters in points in the film. But I did enjoy generally my time with it. So I am going to give this one a 6 out of 10. I do think it had potential to be much better than it actually was. But it's certainly worth a checking out if you've got Netflix anyway. And it's on there right now if you are interested. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed my review. I will be back, of course, with plenty more content on the channel very soon.